Welcome to the Confidently Balance Your Hormones podcast. My name is Dee Davidson, and I'm a hormone health expert, master mindset coach, and multiple wellness business entrepreneur. I'm obsessed with helping you experience hormone balance, confidence, self-love, and live a life full of joy. I know we're about to have so much fun together, so thank you so much for pushing play today. And now let's begin. Welcome to another episode of Confidently Balance Your Hormones. This is your guide, Dee Davidson, and today's guest is Noreen Connolly, PhD, NP, owner of the IV Hub Wellness, graduate of Simmons University. IV Hub Wellness recently nominated in the Best IV Business category by the Boston Business Women's Network. It's just an amazing opportunity to share with the audience the power of IV and everything that Noreen has to offer through her IV Hub Wellness. Welcome, Noreen.
Thank you so much, Dee, for having me, and it's great to be here.
You know that I reached out to you because I send many clients to get IV therapy, and I'm a huge believer in it. There's just so many different ways that it can help someone with their vital reserves, and we'll talk about other ways that it can help with IV therapy being a healing modality. I'll leave that to you, but I am just such a big believer, and I think the more people that we can get on board and into your hub, the better we can elevate people's health. So tell us a little bit about what inspired you to start this business.
So years ago, like 2018, I owned a nursing agency, and it was a private pay nursing agency. And although I loved the clients and the nurses, I wasn't happy. It just didn't fit who I was. As a nurse, I've always been very health conscious and always honed in on being healthy. Because I see your health is your wealth. I've seen working in a hospital that if you don't take care of yourself, what can happen? So that's always been forefront in my mind when I wanted to start a business separate from the nursing agency. And my colleague in Tennessee also had a nursing agency, and she started an IV hydration company in Tennessee. And I said, I'm going to give that a whirl, because she was very happy at what she was doing. As I learned about the IV industry, I noticed it was a booming industry throughout the country, and also that it had a lot of health benefits. And that was in alignment with my health philosophy and, getting healthy. So it really was the health benefits that drew me to the business and starting it in 2021.
That is so great. And how amazing that that was right around the time COVID was going on, right?
That's when we started during COVID. Yeah.
Wow. And I'm sure that you're going to share some stories around that. Not that we have to get into that today, but that was a great tool for many people who were recovering from COVID and still are. I know that I ran into Mr. Kraft's wife at a function that I went to over at Gillette last maybe fall, and she actually was going for IV therapy. She had the long COVID. So can we just pause there and can you want to share anything about how IV therapy can help recover from COVID?
Sure. There's different types of IV therapy depending on your symptoms. So, for example, if you had long COVID and say you had brain fog, NAD is something that is an infusion that really helps with brain fog, and it helps your memory. So NAD has a long name, and I always mess up. It's nucleus something. I can't even pronounce the name. It's so long. And NAD is something we have in our bodies. It's something naturally found in our bodies. After the age of 40, our NAD levels decline. So what happens is we get brain fog, we forget things. I can tell you, when I have a NAD infusion myself, I can remember names. I'm very sharp. Now if I don't have NAD on board, I can't remember names all the time. But if I have NAD, I can remember, like, if I see my friends or my kids' friends' parents, I can remember their name, no problem. And, when sometimes you struggle. So
Sure.
NAD really helps long COVID with brain fog. Um, I'll tell you a quick story about NAD and how powerful it is for the brain and brain health. I had a client who had early onset dementia in their 40s and was used their brain for work. They were well educated, worked in law or accounting, I forget what, but the only way this person could work with the early onset dementia diagnosis was to get NAD infusions. And the NAD infusions gave them the brain power to continue working despite their early onset dementia diagnosis.
Amazing. And so for anyone listening that might be wondering, how often is this person going for these infusions?
So NAD is usually, it depends. It's funny, I had a call yesterday. We'll go down the NAD rabbit hole, but I had a call yesterday from someone who is an addict, and there is a protocol for people who have addictions for NAD also. It's like a 5-day in a row protocol, high doses, like up to 1,000 milligrams. And for your average person, I would say start at 250 milligram dose. And then you can do it depending on your budget. It's usually $1 a milligram. So it's one of the higher priced IVs. So for 250 milligrams, it would be like $250. It all depends on your budget. You could do it once or twice a week. If the 250 milligram dose doesn't work, you can bump up to the 500 milligram dose. So
Okay.
there's always room to bump up in the dose. You can do it days in a row if your budget allows, or you could just do it once a week. It all really depends on what your budget will allow.
That's great that it can be flexible. And I'm sure some people listening might be wondering, I don't know, I haven't looked into NAD or I haven't taken it myself, but I'm sure they have it in a supplement form where you can buy it on Fullscript or something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, they have precursors for NAD. I think NAC is a precursor for NAD, and that is something you can buy as a supplement. Well, I forget, I was just going to say something about NAD. Anyway, it escaped me, but yes, you can buy the supplements for
So the question I probably know the answer to this, but people listening might be wondering, like, so why don't I just buy that on Fullscript or buy it online as opposed to coming in and getting IV therapy? So I think that's a great point with any of these things that we're using through IV therapy to educate people on the difference.
That's a great point. People do ask that question. So what happens when you take something by mouth? It has to go through the digestive enzymes and go through the whole GI tract. When you take something through your IV, it goes right into your system immediately. There's no going through your GI system or anything. It goes right immediately into your system.
So good, so good. So yeah, that is one reason, I had a poor girl. She was in her 20s, college student. It was during school break over the holidays, and her lab testing came back and she had H. pylori, which I'm sure you're familiar with, nasty bacteria that almost 50% of the population has and has no idea. It's not something they test for. Many of us can have it in our body and not be affected, but for some of the population, it wreaks havoc in the stomach lining, ulcers, gastritis, all of these terrible things. So this poor girl in her 20s, she was home and she got her results and she wanted to take care of it. And of course, I always like to build the body back up first, then attack anything like H. pylori or bad bacteria, because if your body's in a depleted or poor state and we go in and just shoot out the bad guys, then your body could just collapse. We know it could go to this exhaustive phase, and now you've sunk into a further hole. However, I always offer the option for the client to go to the doctor. I'm not anti-doctor. I believe that doctors have a place and time, and they can get a antibiotic for a lot of these bugs or bacterias. And so no judgment. She told me she was going to do the holistic route, but then decided before our next session that she wanted to just get this out of her system before she went back from college break. And what ended up happening was what I always tell clients that taking a chance on is these antibiotics are really, really strong. And if your body's not in the condition to accept and rebuild from that, you can put yourself in a really sick position, and that's what happened. She
Mm-hmm.
couldn't eat, she couldn't drink, she couldn't function, and I sent her for the IV therapy. And she said, "Oh my gosh, that night she was able to eat and drink again and start functioning." So,
Good.
yeah, so,
Wow.
as opposed to telling her, "Hey, go get an over the counter, vitamin C and get, all of these other
Yeah.
things," the IV therapy just was amazing. So I think people do need to understand that sometimes having that directly bypass all of your digestive system and processing is
Mm-hmm.
just invaluable. So thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely.
What are some of the typical people that you see come in for IV therapy?
It's funny, we do not see, I'll tell you what we don't see is a lot of hangover people. We
Oh,
see more health conscious people who really want to be healthy. We see the occasional hangover, but that's not our primary clientele. Um, the people, I'd say our most popular IV therapy is something called the Myers cocktail. It was created by a Dr. Myers back in like 1960, and it's really good. I know as a business owner, and you probably know this too, you can get really run down really fast, and I always do a Myers cocktail IV just to give me the boost I need to feel kind of back on track. It has B complex vitamins for energy, and that can also burn some fat. It has vitamin C, a powerful antioxidant. It has vitamin C, B complex, B12 for mental clarity and energy, and then magnesium, which a lot of people are deficient in magnesium. But the good thing about Meg is it really helps you relax. So if
hmm
you're a highly anxious person, magnesium itself, I know people take it to help them sleep. Certain mag supplements can help you go to the bathroom if you're constipated. Like
right.
magnesium plays roles in a lot of things.
hmm
So that's what I love about the Myers cocktail IV is it contains.
That's amazing. And the magnesium, you're so right about that. I think most of my clients are age 40 and above, but
Yeah.
I joke around that we're not getting rid of stress. We live in a totally different world than even 10, 15 years ago. And
Right.
we're go, 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 plugged into things. And when I do the mineral test, the HTMA, most women are depleted of magnesium and they're really needing that. So that's huge.
Yeah. It's
Vitamin B,
interesting.
same thing with stress. I tell people,
Hmm.
once you're under stress, you might think you're handling it well, but you can't trick the body. It's going to go right after those minerals. So that sounds like a great cocktail. I know that you
Hmm.
also offer things for people that have hormone imbalance, and I do have a mix of people following this just for longevity, biohacking, etc. But I do have a
Yeah.
large following for hormone health. So tell us a little bit about how your offerings can help people with hormone balance and hormonal issues.
So currently what we've been offering for the last year is testosterone replacement for men.
Ah,
And I've seen men really, the thing with testosterone and with women, but we'll talk about men because that's what I've been working with the last year. So when our grandparents were in their 50s, our grandfathers were in their 50s, their testosterone level was around 1,000. Men now in their 50s and even younger, it's now around 300.
wow.
And the reason for that is all the hormone disruptors in our food and in plastics. I'm sure you know all about this, the food, the plastics. And so men aren't like they used to be because of this. Their
Mm-hmm.
testosterone through the environment is really much, much lower. So
Mm-hmm.
symptoms of that for them, they want to go to bed after dinner. They're tired. They don't have drive. They don't want to get promotions at work. They don't want to work out as hard at the gym. So what testosterone replacement does for them is it kind of fixes it, makes them feel like a man again and helps them with their energy and their drive at work and their, just overall feel, like they used to feel. Um,
That's amazing. And there are so many um, research papers and things that talk about that drop in testosterone sperm counts, all of the male hormones and things like that, which is crazy. And yes, I've studied that for almost 20 years. I don't know if
Wow.
you read my story, Noreen, but I went through unexplained infertility. So that's what brought me on the path initially to fall in love with hormone health and really understanding
Yeah.
unexplained infertility, the drops in sperm counts, all of our hormones being messed up, all of the environmental factors that again we weren't subjected to. So that's great. How about people who might be suffering from perimenopause or menopause or even postmenopause? What do you have to offer those people?
Right. That's coming this summer. Probably in July, we'll be treating women who are in the pre-post peri phase of menopause and sexual dysfunction that goes with that. And that's coming this summer. We see a lot of weight loss patients, and what goes hand in hand with women and gaining weight a lot of times is menopause. So that's what kind of, and I'm in that age group too, where I'm interested in learning about hormones and if they'd be beneficial to me. And so this summer is when we're going to start offering that to women. And also, like I said, what got me into it was our weight loss clients. A lot of them are hormone deficient besides being
Mm-hmm.
overweight. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And will you
it's
be
interesting.
offering bioidentical hormones or is it some kind of
Yes,
IV? Do you want to share anything?
bioidentical. Yeah, definitely bioidentical. The research on the non-bioidentical has shown that, like, for example, the prescription strength um, estrogen is not bioidentical to the body, and that has more risks
Okay.
than the bioidentical. I'm not saying bioidentical is risk-free, but the non-bioidentical, from what I've read so far, and I'm not an expert yet, but is that it has more risks. So
Okay.
definitely the bioidentical.
Okay, wonderful. And how can those bioidentical hormones help women that are struggling? What types of things are
Oh,
you learning?
definitely the hot flashes. That's probably the number one. Their interest in sexual relations with their partner. That's another thing.
Hear that a lot.
Um, yeah, women can't sleep because of the hot flashes.
Mm-hmm.
Women lose. I mean, that's awful when you can't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's just those are some of the main three things that I hear women complain about.
What about
You know.
and I don't know if you researched or learned about this yet, but just even, bone density and things like that. I've had some clients ask me about it for that.
Yeah, and the dementia too.
Yeah.
Dementia can go up when you lose your estrogen. You
Yeah.
risk
Yeah.
definitely bone density, um, urinary health too. Your
Okay.
urinary, if you when you lose estrogen, that's why estrogen cream is good if you have like incontinence as you get
Uh-huh.
older
Uh-huh.
and with vaginal dryness.
Uh-huh. And I know that
Um,
you speak about the wild yam cream too. Is that something that you
oh yeah,
provide
I just
there?
started using wild yam cream. So I haven't looked at the research. I've looked at the anecdotal feedback about wild yam cream. It's supposed to naturally balance your hormones.
And I've heard that from
So if
several people.
yeah, so what I've been told about it is it if your estrogen's high, it will lower your estrogen. What it mainly does is increases your progesterone, which is like the gatekeeper of all your hormones. So it will
Hmm.
balance your progesterone, which will in turn, if you have high estrogen, it will lower it. If you have low estrogen, it will increase it. Same with testosterone. If you have, as a woman, if you have low testosterone, it will balance it out. It will bring it up. If you have high testosterone as a woman, it will bring it down.
Okay.
The thing about wild GM cream, you're not supposed to take it if you are taking hormones.
Uh-huh.
I have heard of people come off of their hormones by taking wild GM cream.
Wow, that's amazing. And where would
Yeah,
someone get
so
this product?
there's one that is very popular. It's sold out a lot. It's called Anna's Wild Yam Cream. I think it's made in Australia. From what I see, it's sold out a lot. So you can look on maybe online somewhere to get it. But Anna's Wild Yam Cream is like the be all end all in the industry.
Okay.
The most
So that
popular, I would say.
so they just get that right online.
Yes.
Amazing. So any final promotions or words to anyone curious or afraid of doing IV therapy? Anything you want to say to the listeners or share?
I can just tell you about our facilities. We're in Medford, Stone, and Burlington. We have nurses who work in hospitals, and they're awesome with IV skills. So we take HSA and FSA, and we have cherry financing. We have deals like if you buy 5 IVs, you can get 1 free. If you buy 10 IVs, you can get 2 free. And that goes with NAD too. So it goes for Myers Cocktail, any of our IV therapies. They could just come in, try it out. We have mini bags for $100, which have 250 mLs of fluid with 2 vitamins, B complex and vitamin C. And there's lots of things you can try. If you don't like IVs, you could get like a Tri-Immune shot for your immunity.
Okay.
Or a B12 shot.
That sounds like a great alternative. How long does it take? If someone might be wondering, if they come in, how long do they sit there with this IV?
If they do a mini bag, which is only 250 mLs, that could take about 20 minutes. If you do a liter bag, that can take about an hour max.
Okay, sounds like a good time out for us moms.
Yeah, we give you a heated blanket, water, coffee, eye mask.
Very nice.
You can just chill out and take a nap. Very
nice. And so where can people connect with you from here?
Our website, www.theivhubboston.com. And they can make an appointment, or they can always call our office, 781-799-2827. We're on Instagram and Facebook, and we'd love to hear from them.
All right. Well, thank you so much. This was so informative, and I hope that it helps some people that are out there listening.
All right, Dee, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Confidently Balancing Your Hormones. If you enjoyed today's episode, I'd love for you to share it with a friend and also hit follow at the top of this podcast. If you have a couple of minutes and you can leave a quick review, it will help other women in need find this podcast. You can find me on Instagram at confidently_love_yourself. I would love to stay connected and hear from you.